Hi, everybody. It's Jim Skelly, and this is the Global Conversation. It's the 8th of our mini lectures for the current semester. I must say, I've been very impressed. I've read a number of the midterms over this past weekend, and the midterm essays, many people seem to be capturing the central idea in this course, and that is that we need to take a contextual approach and look at social structures that contribute to the environmental problems that we face today. So I'm very pleased by that, and I must say, keep up the good work in that regard. I hope, too, that this is not a particularly intense week. We're dealing with water, which I'll say something about in a little bit, but I've noticed that some of the learning circles seem to be pulling their work together and trying to get a focus for the final project. And I've made some comments about this in one or two of the circles. The key issue is to be proactive and to take leadership yourself. Don't expect that someone else is going to do it. So do think about how you might really contribute in a leadership way in putting together the project. Okay. Now there are a number of interesting articles this week. One of them is the story about the grizzly bears in the West, in the Rocky Mountains. Now it seems that because there's a change in the habitat of the Rockies, and humans and grizzly bears are getting closer to each other, really encountering each other, the bears are altering their lifestyles. And guess what? Like some humans, we won't say what country is most notable in this regard, but like some humans, apparently the grizzlies are becoming lazy and fat, according to the experts out in the field. Jamie Jonkel, a grizzly manager and wildlife conflict specialist with the state of Montana, said, "We've got bears spending the whole summer eating oats in the field, out there with the elk and the deer, and getting fatter and fatter. They've started really loving the good life, much like the average American." He says further on, some of them still move into the high country in the summer, but some of them just set up shop and don't move. You can see grizzlies out there in the fields all day, lazing about, grazing on alfalfa, while a kid is kicking a soccer ball around. Well, it's going to be an interesting future for the grizzlies. A couple of other things, a less felicitous story at one level of analysis, and that is that they have now found that there is deeper damage, or at least some deeper damage from the BP oil spill. Most notably that there is now evidence of dead coral in the sea, the Gulf of Mexico, not too far from where the well blew out. I think it could be a very serious matter, because the ecological system depends on the balance between coral and the rest of the sea life. But it is clear that this deep coral seems to be dying. I'll post you an article about that in the email that I send out. Now, another thing that you'll see I heard this on NPR, National Public Radio in the United States, earlier this week, and that is that there are some people who are talking about geoengineering. Now, you may remember that one of the things that Gwynne Dyer talks about in Climate Wars is geoengineering, making the earth cooler. And I have to say, I find it a very, very worrying possibility. They do not know what the knock-on effects are going to be. Sorry, did I say warmer? No, I meant cooler. What they're going to try and do is make the Earth cooler by seeding the clouds in the sky and trying to create something akin to being covered with volcanic ash so that the Earth will cool. Now, we're a ways from it, but you're going to hear more and more about this as the Earth, as our planet heats up. So pay attention to that as well. And this ties, of course, to the fact that energy is, the energy use around the world is just growing and growing and growing. I'll send you some more statistics as data out about all of this. In the period from 1990 to 2005, China's energy doubled in that 15-year period, its energy use. The United States is still using, it has 5 times the population of the United Kingdom, where some of us have to sit, but it uses 10 times the energy of the United Kingdom. Something has to give somewhere along the line here. Now, one of the, there's also a very interesting, I don't want to miss this because I'm going to send you the link. There's also a very interesting carbon calculator. Now, I know you've all done ecological footprints, carbon footprints, etc., but I'd really like you to take a look at this because I think you can see, how do we get carbon emissions down? And this is just in the UK, but it'll give you a sense for what you might do in different places. But I mean, do you want to give up consumption of imported goods? No more shirts from China for Jim. No more fruit in the wintertime. Things like that. Food waste. What are we going to do about that? Car travel, air travel. It's worth taking a look at and seeing what it would require to cut broad emissions so that we bring the levels down. I don't think, I'm very worried that we are going to just keep increasing emissions. And I don't see where the change is going to come from, but worth confronting this. Now, this week, one of the things that we're thinking a lot about is water. Now, we have a film posted on the website under this week's theme. I hope you'll take a look at that. It's titled A World Without Water. And I think, it is, there's no question that it's shocking that we have, we're headed into water crises of the most extraordinary sort. And one of the things, just to give you a taste of this, one of the things that we've also posted is a lecture by Maud Barlow, the Canadian expert on water. It's called Our Water Commons. And she's looking at one area of the world. She's the author of Blue Covenant, The Global Water Crisis, and The Fight for the Right to Water. Now, I want to play you just a short excerpt from this. This is her talking about the summer of 2009, and she's just reading some headlines. Listen to this.
Okay, just to give us a little flavor of what we're dealing with. These are all different headlines. They don't come, I'll run them on, but they're all different. Australia burning as country hits the water wall. Israel faces worst water crisis in 80 years. Catastrophic water crisis hits Iraq. The worst drought in half a century has pushed Argentina to a state of emergency. China hits the historic water crisis. Jordan braces for historic drought. Nevada, the U.S., has been declared a national disaster area because of severe droughts. California facing the worst drought in modern history. Kenya to declare a national emergency over drought. In Spain, water is the new battleground as swaths of southeast Spain are turned into desert. Pakistan is on the brink of a water disaster over accelerated melting of the glaciers and the depletion of massive waters of the Indus Basin rivers. Growing water stress in Southeast Asia is expected as water systems that sustain half the 1.5 billion people are threatened. And out of Davos, the World Economic Forum last month, which gathered, where all the elite of the world gathered to talk about the financial crisis, the statement they came out with at the end was, the world is headed toward water bankruptcy, and that is what's concerning us more than anything else we talked about here.
So you can see that this is going to become a very, very big issue in lots of places. There are estimates that by 2025, that's only 15 years from now, 2/3 of the world's population will be running short of fresh drinking water. And water is becoming referred to now as the oil of the 21st century. And again, Gwynne Dyer made note of all this in his climate wars discussions. You're going to see more and more conflict around water, and it's something that I hope you'll all pay very careful attention to. I'm also going to give you a link to a website that talks about privatization of water, or should we just keep it within the public domain? There's a great website called the Food and Water Watch. That's it for this session. I really will want to urge you to really pay attention, if you can, to getting those projects done for the learning circles. We are getting close to the end of the semester. There's only 4 or 5 weeks left to go, and it will disappear very quickly, as we all know. So have a good week, and I will talk to you in another week. Thanks very much.